and Barrat.
The poems I read in the last half were inspired by Garcia Lorca, and he can be spooky, all right? So I'm going to read a couple of his poems in English, forgive me. Neighborhood of Cordova, nocturnal theme. Inside the house, they take shelter from the stars. Night collapses. Within, a dead girl, a crimson rose hidden in her hair. 6 nightingales on the railing weep for her. The people keep sighing with gaping guitars. And that's where I got the dead girl with the cat poem. So this one's called Rider's Song. Cordova, distant and lonely. Black pony, large moon. In my saddlebag, olives. Well as I know the roads, I shall never reach Cordova. Over the plain, through the wind, black pony, red moon. Death keeps a watch on me in Cordova's towers. Oh, such a long way to go, and oh, my spirited pony, but death awaits me before I reach Cordova. Cordova, distant and lonely. Thank you.
Let's welcome back Louise Richardson.
Well, Teresa asked me if I had any Halloween-like songs, and I couldn't think of any right away. So I looked up Monster Mash. But I do have a murder ballad that reminded me of. But instead of that, I've sung it many times before. This is a story I wrote in Harriet's group, which Robin founded. It's at Strange Brew every Wednesday afternoon from 1 until 3, named after her cat Harriet. And I wrote the story once, and then I wrote it on paper, and I lost it somewhere. And one of our group members, Molly Eiley, had heard about it, and she said, well, I want to hear that wolf story. And I said, well, I couldn't find it. So I rewrote it. But I must say, I think I've heard this somewhere. I think this exists somewhere in the literature, so I'm admitting right now this is plagiarism. Sasha.
It's a retelling.
It's a retelling, thank you. Somewhere in the Russian literature you'll find something like this. Ivan Ivanovich Petrov walked warily through the woods. The dark forest hid sounds as dark as the winter's night. Ivan Ivanovich knew the path. He had walked it every day, bundles of cordwood and arms weary from a day's chopping. There was no thought of ghosts, no fear of great brown bears. The woods were dank, but there was scant light, light enough through the trees, enough to see his way home. The howl of the wolf echoed far away, too far away to concern him. Sasha would have been on guard in his day, long past. Ivan Ivanovich did not worry and continued to his cabin, once shared with that good dog Sasha, the protector in his youth. Something white or gray passed a league to one side. Ivan Ivanovich turned to it and saw only trees and forest mist. A twig broke ahead, but nothing appeared. Though a low growl came slowly into his consciousness. Brave Ivan Ivanovich wished fleetingly that good Sasha were there to investigate, but home was straight ahead, and the axe and the logs would ward off a lone wolf. Ivan Ivanovich was strong, he was fit. No lone wolf could stay his progress. Ivan Ivanovich was grown now and not one to fear lone wolves or ghost wolves. Oh, he had been scared of the phantom beasts touted around the campfires of his childhood. Adulthood, though, showed legends to be fantasy and nothing more. There was nothing in these woods Ivan Ivanovich Petrov could not face and overcome. He did miss Sasha's companionship, those 7 years hence, but for his presence only, no longer for his protection. Then the white muzzle filled his view and shook him to the bone, lupine jaws clamping his neck, cutting off his air, drawing blood. Ivan Ivanovich had not seen the wolf. The white wolf leaped from the brush beside him, scattering logs and axe over the now red-splattered snow. Ivan Ivanovich was instantly taken to oblivion. A pair of blue eyes, ringed by black fur, materialized, and wet pink lapped the face of Ivan Ivanovich. "Sasha!" He croaked from his frozen, blood-encrusted throat. The man struggled to sit up and blinked. He felt his neck and was relieved that only the skin was cut. Finding his way to stand, he saw blood and fur all around in the white forest. Next to where he lay was an enormous white wolf, its head almost bitten from its body. Ivan Ivanovich Petrov searched the moonlit woods, but there was no sign of any other creature. Who or what had killed the ghost wolf and saved his life? He gathered the cordwood and axe. Then he continued to his cabin, packing snow on his injured but unbreached neck. And all he could say was, "Sasha." Thank you.
All right, up next, Sydney.
We don't have anything.
Nothing?
Can we do like separately go?
When I put you separate, you want to go together. Okay, so.
Yeah.
All right, who's next? Yes, yes.
You got something?
I do have something.
Okay.
There you go.
So, Sarah.
Okay. So, this is actually the poem I originally submitted, and it's kind of about the same subject that I was talking about before, but it goes more into depth on it, I guess you could say, and it's way less polished, so please excuse that. It doesn't really have a title either, so let's do it. You always said your parents would send you to a Bible camp if they found out you were gay for me. And I never believed you. After all, I had come out to my parents and they were fine with it if I just shoved myself back into the closet when they were trying to fit in at PTA meetings like, "Shut up, Susan, both my teeth and my daughter are straighter than yours." As if being queer was a cause for mourning all the grandchildren they would likely never have. I'm sorry that you'll never read them bedtime stories, but I didn't choose this coffin. You always said you loved me when you thought I wasn't paying attention. I pretended to sleep so you could whisper it clumsily, the syllables struggling to fight past your clenched teeth. I wanted to tell you I knew. I almost did. Our last night together, your sobbing is something I thought I filtered into ambient noise, but it's a headache I can't avoid. You were right. Your parents are sending you to conversion therapy in the morning. I almost tell you I know, but I can't say anything besides sorry. It's my fault. You'll tell me how Neruda laid down the horizon as we watched the sunrise. I almost didn't cry. You're not allowed phone calls, so I write you letters in chicken scratch calligraphy, asking questions like, when will you be back? Are you making friends? And the unspoken question, do you hate me now? I waited in anticipation, but you never wrote me. I wanted to hear anything from you those months you were gone. I thought you were probably dead. I was scared I'd never see you again. My mom told me that, not all Christians are like that. There are hate the sin, love the sinner ones who will say they support us gays if we act straight in public. And after all, we should be grateful that we're not getting beheaded in the Middle East when we can still legally lose our jobs and homes for being fags. And these same Christians will say that children need a mom and dad but disown their gay kids, so they have neither, when 40% of LGBT teens in America are actually homeless. We have a problem. We both nod, but I know she's wrong. You never respond to my letters, and I'll eventually stop writing. Later, I found out you never got them because the camp counselors took them away before my courier pigeon heart could make the trip. I know you died thinking you were completely alone. One night you asked what my least favorite word was. I immediately said squelch because it sounds terrible and describes something gross. It was like an awful double whammy. You said your least favorite word was almost. It's full of untapped potential, of unhappy, unsatisfying endings. She almost got the girl. He almost graduated college. They almost fell in love. When you got home, you wouldn't look me in the eye. Later, I would read an article titled Conversion Camp Confessions. Gay teen forced to watch gay porn and shocked repeatedly until he couldn't hug his own father, killed himself. Transgender boy raped repeatedly to remind him of femininity that was never there, killed himself. Lesbian 16-year-old whored out to gay boys to make them straight, killed herself. And my new least favorite word is almost. You almost got the girl. You almost graduated high school. I almost told you how I felt. I wish this poem had a happy ending. You almost lived. Trust me when I say your throat was always a song to be sung and never a branch to swing from. Did you know that Neruda laid down the horizon this morning? You were almost there to see it. This poem almost had a happy ending.
Thom Stoner.
Oh, Thom.
I gotta follow that.
Sorry.
Okay.
Whenever you go.
All right. This is a Halloween thing, and it's a future Halloween story. So, and a real one. So, it could be true because it hasn't not happened yet. Right? All right. So, here's the deal. I'm going to wing this and try to keep it in the order so that the spooky part comes at the right time. But my son lived in New York for 12 years, got married last September 13th, and then he and his sweetie moved to Portland, Maine, because they'd had it with the city. And so I went up, I think a month ago, yeah, about a month ago. And Carly, the sweetie, is very dramatic, and she's in all these local musicals in Biddeford, Maine. Now, Biddeford, Maine has a theater in it that was built in the 1850s and is absolutely beautiful. It burnt down, they rebuilt it, and it became a real flagship opera house in the Northeast. And so they would bring in shows, and famous opera stars and lecturers and so on would come through there and do this. Well, on Halloween night, and this is all true, on Halloween night, 1904, there was a songstress, a chanteuse, named Eva Gray, who came through and sang Halloween Eve, 1904. You know the story?
No.
Oh, it's okay. You were like, so yeah, anyway, so she came through and she sang, and she was a sensation. And she traveled with her daughter. I'm not sure how old the daughter was, but younger than 10, let's say. And she went out after her show and she did 3 encores. And the last song she sang was Goodbye, Little Girl, Goodbye. Went back to her dressing room, collapsed with a heart attack, and died in front of her daughter. Halloween Eve, 1904. All right, so this year, my daughter-in-law, Carly, is in Jekyll and Hyde, that plays through, it's playing now on weekends. It's a community theater, but they're really, really good. So anyway, so she is the girlfriend of the bipolar Dr. Jekyll, and she's very dramatic, and she sings great, and so on and so on. But the last night of the run is Halloween this month. And so I'm going back up there. And there's a room that was the dressing room and is now the room where they make the costumes. And in the past, there have been a lot of sightings of Eva Gray, and she likes to appear to children. So if people are in the show and they're rehearsing and the kids are off somewhere doing their thing, the adults will hear the kids stop doing what they're doing, and then after a while it'll start up again. And later someone will say, you know, do you have fun? She goes, oh yeah, that woman was in there playing with us. She was in there, and then she left. And this is all true. And so I don't know what the date is, 20 days from now, whatever, I'm going to the show. I'm going back up to Maine to see Carly in Jekyll and Hyde. And before then, I'm going to learn this song, Goodbye, Little Girl, Goodbye. And I'm going to go in that room after the show, and I'm going to play a mandolin, and I'm going to sing the song and see what happens.
So like, if you don't come back.
Right, yeah, right, yeah. Won't go back, you won't miss me anyway.
Ghosts can't kill. I learned that on Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah, so anyway, that's
Have a heart attack.
unless
Yeah,
I have a heart
unless you have a
attack,
heart attack.
maybe I'll learn a different song. But anyway, so that's my future Halloween story.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, you give this all that.
Yeah. This is super short, so. Alright. Since Teresa has insisted I must read for the open mic, I wrote a
Yay.
very, very short thing. It's cinquain, so it's only like 5 lines. And think brevity, not really long message. It's titled Water. We charge an arm and a leg for the water of life, then wonder why poor people can't walk.
Welcome again, Magic Jack.
There's some scary shit. Yes, real scary shit. Not the rubber masks and contorted faces arriving at your door in search of candy in many places. Real horror is not romantic, not fun at all. Sad truth is that real horror is not that far in distance or in past. Syria, Iraq, Pakistan are just some. But as long as we can pretend horror is for sale at Walmart and Randall's.
All right, so my first novel is called Tribe of One, and one of the chapters, hey, I was about to say, wow, that was queued up really nicely. In one of the chapters, the main character, who is named Salome, and she's a single black woman, she's going out to Halloween, or Halloween night, with her friends, and she picked up this guy named Paul. So, in a chapter that's called Drunk Men Can't Hump, this is her, like, Halloween hookup. I fetch Paul back to my apartment after Martini Twist closes. I squirt him a few times with my gun when he tries to undress me in the cab while we're making out. It's bad enough we're carrying on like a couple of horny teenagers, but I'm not getting publicly naked on top of that. I'm on an archaeological dig to uncover the real Paul underneath all the layers of blue. First thing I discover once we're back at my place is the beautiful olive skin of his chest. Nice tan, a compliment. Thanks, I was born with it. Oh, like me, I say as I help him with his pants. Here, I'll give you a hand with your costume. Despite his offer, Paul just slips his hands through the side slits to caress my legs and ass. Oh, you're so hot, he says between kisses. I finally help him get my pants off. Without interrupting our kisses, I lead him to the bathroom with our clothes trailing our route. We're taking a bubble bath, he asks, eyeing my old-fashioned deep bathtub. Perhaps another time. For now, I want to wash off that blue. You're gonna wash away my blues? Yep. I turn on the shower and adjust the water temperature while Paul takes off his remaining clothes. I take off my top, stuffed bra, wigs, earrings, and false eyelashes. Wow, you look really different, Paul says. I'm too drunk to be offended. Yep, that's what you get for picking up a woman on Halloween. Out of my peripheral vision, I notice that he's underhung. Maybe he's cold. I hope he's one of those plumps when you cook him kind of men. This is the part I love, washing each other off. Although I feel as if I have the harder task since I have to practically scrub off all that blue makeup, I'm enjoying every moment of running my hands all over his body. By the way, Paul's kissing and caressing me, he's certainly enjoying himself. Then I feel his erection sliding along the inside of my thigh. Yes, he's doubled in size. But I think he's misinterpreted my enthusiasm. Slow down, buddy. You need to put on a condom first. Then let's get the hell out of this shower, he says, rinsing the suds off of himself. We towel off quickly and dash into my bedroom as if it's an Olympic event. And that's about how long he lasts. Hey, you've come already? I asked, astonished. No, I can't come in a rubber. He starts humping me more vigorously. Wait, I can't feel you. He stops, whips off the condom and says, just suck it a little, it'll come back. He maneuvers us in the position for me to just suck it a little. Boy, does he have the wrong woman. Are you serious? You only lasted for like 30 seconds and now you want me to suck your dick? All this hitting on me, caressing me, telling me I'm hot just for, you know what? You should be the one going down on me. No, I do not handle sexual disappointment well, especially when drunk. I should have known you were a fake when you started taking off all those body parts. Paul yells while hopping out of bed. Body parts? That was my costume, you dumbass. As in, it's Halloween. I definitely got tricked. I snapped back. You are the trick with that now you see it, now you don't erection of yours. Screw you. Not with that disappearing dick of yours, Houdini. For his final act, he vanishes in a huff, magically taking my thrill with him. In the next, like, 2 chapters, she goes to buy her first well-researched vibrator. Okay, well-researched. As a matter of fact, I described this so well that people actually thought that vibrator existed. It does not. Brooke? Okay. Oh, right!
Okay, I've got some notes here. So I wasn't totally expecting to do this, but I'm going to tell you a story. When I was younger, my mom told me if I was angry, just put a pillow over your face and scream into it. But it never worked. My dad would say, get a board and hammer nails into it. That didn't work either. They got more creative. They were like, we have an idea. We'll set up a table in the garage and you can hit it with a mop. It never quite gave me the satisfaction that I was looking for. Years later, I came to a point in my life where I realized that if I didn't cry about it, that maybe they didn't have the power over me. I wouldn't allow them that satisfaction to let that tear drop, to let them see me weak in any way. I realized at one point that I was strong, I was independent, and I was horribly alone. And when the tears would well up in my eyes and they almost spilled over, I would bite the inside of my lip. But I would always stay strong. But there was this tangible anger inside of me. It was fierce, it was warm, and for some reason it needed to come out. And it comes from inside your core. It's like a light that rages inside of you as it pushes against your skin and makes your body tight and your nerve endings tingle as if they were on the outside of you. I needed to use my entire body to release this anger, and I came up with my own idea. So I went to Target and I bought a bat. A beautiful, bright, orange, aluminum, for youth ages 12 to 14 bat. I figured that my son could use it later when he was practicing for baseball, so it would have 2 purposes. It's worth the money. And I decided that I would go to the junkyard. Wasn't gonna hurt anyone. I walked up with my bat, and my jean shorts and my tank top. And I said, I've had the worst week of my life today, and I just need to release a little bit of my anger. And the gentleman looked at me as if he had never seen anyone like me before. And I said, okay, do I need to buy a car? And he said, $2, go to the back, don't tell him I told you. And I said, $2. Okay, thanks so much. I never realized how big a salvage yard really is until you're inside of it. And I'm walking with this bat, and part of me is feeling kind of like I'm in a movie. So I start to twirl it. I was like, all right, so I'm twirling the bat, and I'm putting some thought into this. I'm going to pick a car, right? I'm going to pick a car to destroy at this point. And I want it to be in relatively good shape so that the damage I am inflicting upon it, I can really see. And then I start thinking, I don't want to inflict damage upon a Ford. I think most people here like Fords, right? Or maybe I should stay away from American cars. So I went towards the import section. And I was like, okay, I'll pick an import. I mean, maybe most people aren't going to use those. I wasn't really sure. So I walked down the path and I chose this car. And I took a picture of it. I was going to do a before and after photo just so that I had some memories.
All right.
And I stood in front of this car, and my plan was to methodically release my anger, to say to it, I am angry because, and then hit this car with all my might. And I stood in front of the car with the bat, and I realized I'm not really angry. And I stood there and I was like, no, I don't have any anger. I don't know why I'm here. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I said, I'll just hit the car one time. Just one time, I'll just whack it, and you know, I'm sure I'll feel better. And so I leaned back and I just whacked the car. Not really with all my might, just enough to feel good about it. I didn't even dent the car. It was a very sad showing. And then I realized, no, I am angry. I'm pretty angry right now. That kind of started it off. And I took that bat, and every time I hit that car, I said, I am angry because I gave you 18 years of my life. And I nailed the side of it. I was like, I'm angry because you don't like your own children. And I nailed the side of it. And I'm angry because you wouldn't wake up for your son's birthday. And I nailed the side of that car. I broke every window out of that car. I crushed in the windshield. I took off the mirrors. I dented every side of it. I broke out the headlights. And then, when I couldn't break any more of that car, I decided I would climb on top of it and beat in the roof. At this point, the car, if you've never been to a salvage yard, they're raised. The cars are raised, so it's not as graceful as going out in the parking lot and being able to climb on a car. And on top of that, I had just bought these awesome new Chucks that I was wearing that apparently slip. I'm not wearing them right now, I'm flip-flops. But so I'm attempting to climb on top of this car, and I slid, and I got a bat in my hand. I'm covered in dirt and glass and tears and anger and everything else. I smell disgusting, and I slip and I catch myself, and I'm like, I'm going back up. But something catches my eye, and there's a gentleman next to me, and this is what he's doing. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to be the next viral video on YouTube at this point. He says to me, you're not allowed to do that. And I said, no, I paid to be here. And he said, I'm calling the police, follow me up front. And then I was like, oh, holy hell, I can't do this. So I followed him because I do follow the rules of our society most days. And I walked to the front, and I was standing there thinking, I'm not going to jail for beating in a car in a salvage yard I just paid $2 for. I had permission to do this, right? And the manager, he comes out to me, and he looks at me and he says, ma'am, are you okay? And I'm standing there, sweat and dirt and dust. And all of a sudden, I just start crying. I said, no, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for years. He says, why don't you just show me the car and we'll figure out what damages you owe me from it. I said, okay, no problem. And as we walked along, I told him my whole story, every piece of it. every piece I never told another soul in my living life. He heard as we walked. We only made it halfway to the car. And at that point he said, "Can I hug you?" And I said, "Yes, you can." And he stood there in the junkyard. I covered his shirt in tears. I have no idea how long we stood there, how long he held me in his arms. He said nothing to me. And when I stopped crying, he said, "You don't owe me anything for this car. Have a nice day." And I walked out of the junkyard, and I haven't felt that anger anymore. I've decided now that when I do feel angry, I don't bite my lip anymore. I just let the tears come, and I give it a name, and I embrace it, and I let them flow. Oh, wow, I gotta think.
I'm saving mine for Wednesday at Roberson. We're doing Edgar Allan Poet. So if you're dead and you love Edgar Allan Poe, come and rejoice in that at 615 Roberson Lane from 6 to 10. But I just love this bookstore very, very much. And I thought I'd do a love poem to her. The girl who wanted to be a book. If she had been born in any other time, a time of papyrus, palimpsest, biblos, even beaten reeds or stone, even chained to a pulpit, illuminated manuscript, she could have disguised herself or been a nun, Hildegard of Bingen, or sung in a choir, gained access to an arcane library or desert monastery, and have her wishes granted. She chose 2016 when books were only curios sold through Malvern bookstore, half-price books, or antique shops. People remembered their great-grandmothers reading to them at night, but everyone these days had implants and did not need to print or publish anything. All was on Google, all download all the time, apps over books. Even to request such a format made progressives nervous. Where is the battery in a book? How do you transfer text? How do you tweet? She was not exactly retro, but she knew that between covers was where she longed to go. So she began by pilgrimages to libraries, you know, those deprived of funds so police can kill more black people. She studied form, content, style, calligraphy. She went to recycled reeds and made books from disposed stock. She saw each page as a feather. She put them all together in some magical way. She could fly in her own imagination. So she wrote her own books. She shared them, Malvern books, but it was never enough. She wanted her whole life to have wings. She wanted to actually sing like Hildegard of Bingen. Finally, she found a format at a bookbinding workshop, and she threaded swan feathers together into covers, and she slipped between them, enlarged their dimensions, so they might sustain her desire for levity. And they did. And you can see her now, here, at this reading, at Malvern Books, talking about fear and processing. She's a talking book, a reminder that dreams do come true, but often in a form so different to our true desires.
Thank you so much for braving the crowds of ACL and coming out to hear Things Under the Bed. Now you are properly ready for Halloween when it comes in, what, 2-3 more weekends? Our next gathering here at Malvern Books will be on Sunday, November 8th, and our theme is Bumper Sticker Philosophy.
Yeah.
So, those cute little bumper stickers with the little pithy sayings. Let 1 or 20 of them be your inspiration for your next piece, and I will see you here. Mwah.